Hello, welcome to the channel Why Stories. Enjoy watching.
40 guests, 3 days of partying, and a debt of $300,000. That's how my mother-in-law's birthday was celebrated, in my apartment, while I was lying in intensive care. When I came back, I said just one sentence. Camilla huddled into the thin jacket her cousin had brought from home. A draft was blowing through the hospital hallway, chilling her legs and sneaking under her clothes, making her shiver. Her body still felt the distinctive weakness from medication, and a dull pain in her side reminded her of the recent surgery. "I just want to go home," Camilla whispered, leaning against the cold wall and closing her eyes. 3 weeks in intensive care now felt like a never-ending nightmare. A sudden acute pancreatitis attack, the ambulance, emergency surgery, IVs, catheters, sleepless nights, the beeping of medical equipment. The doctor hadn't hidden the truth. Camilla had been incredibly lucky. They had literally pulled her back from the brink of death. "All set, Camilla. We can go." Rosa, her mother's older sister, handed her a packet of discharge papers. "Your things are in the car." Diego still hadn't shown up. Camilla shook her head. He was at work. Said he was stuck in traffic and wouldn't make it. Rosa pressed her lips together but said nothing. Camilla stared out the window the entire drive, only now fully realizing how much the world had changed in those 3 weeks. Spring had come, buds had appeared on the trees, grass was turning green, the first flowers were blooming in front yards. Such simple beauty, things she'd never noticed before. Now, she was grateful for every ray of sun, every passing car, every stranger on the street, just for being alive, for being able to see it all. "We're here, dear," Rosa said, stopping in front of the familiar 5-story building. Camilla stepped out of the car and looked up. Their windows were on the 3rd floor. Her windows. This 3-bedroom apartment, inherited from her grandmother, was her only real possession. She'd lived there before meeting Diego, and they'd stayed after the wedding. "Are you sure you don't want to come stay with me? Just for a few days?" "You need care," Rosa said, clearly worried. "No, Rosa," Camilla gave a faint smile. "I missed home so much. I want my own bed, my own shower. Diego will come tonight, he'll help." "Okay, but call me if anything." "Anytime." The entrance smelled just like she remembered, and the elevator groaned as it moved. When the doors opened on the 3rd floor, Camilla paused to catch her breath. Her heart was pounding. She wanted so badly to be home, to take off the hospital clothes, to shower, to lie in her own bed. The key turned in the lock with difficulty, as if the door resisted her return. Camilla pushed it open and froze. A sharp stench of alcohol, cigarettes, and something else, musty, unpleasant, hit her. What the? The entryway looked like a battlefield. Crumpled napkins, wrappers, and cigarette butts littered the floor. Camilla walked forward slowly, horror rising as she took in her own home. The living room was even worse. Dark stains from spilled wine and cognac marred the brand-new light-colored parquet. The sofa was piled with clothes. The coffee table was stacked with dirty plates, food scraps, empty and half-empty bottles, and cigarette butts in makeshift ashtrays, coffee cups and saucers. One of Camilla's favorite ficus plants, which she had tended for years, had been snapped near the base, and cigarette butts were poking out of the soil in the pot. "Oh my God," Camilla whispered, her legs trembling. She walked into the kitchen, opened the door, and froze again. The sink was overflowing with dirty dishes, the table was covered in plates with dried food, the floor was sticky from spilled drinks. In the bedroom, the bed was unmade with filthy sheets, and unfamiliar clothes, clearly not hers or Diego's, were scattered all over. In the bathroom, the laundry basket was overflowing with towels and women's swimsuits. This couldn't be real. It was absurd. Camilla sat on the edge of the couch, struggling to breathe through the rush of emotions. Just 4 months ago, she and Diego had finished renovating this apartment. They'd spent all their savings, taken out a loan they hadn't even paid off yet. She remembered how they'd picked out wallpaper for the bedroom, searched forever for the perfect tiles for the bathroom, spent hours leveling the walls. The living room floor had Italian parquet sheet saved up for over 2 years. And now all of it ruined. In just 3 weeks, while she'd been in intensive care, fighting for her life. With shaking hands, Camilla pulled her phone from her bag. She dialed her husband's number. Long rings. Then short ones. He declined the call. "Oh no, you're not getting away that easily," she muttered, dialing again. This time, Diego picked up. "Hey, Cammy. You're home already?" "Diego, what happened here?" Her voice cracked. "Oh, that," he hesitated. "Please don't freak out, okay? It was Mom's birthday, her 60th, remember? So, we decided to celebrate at our place. Don't worry, we'll clean everything up, of course." "Celebrate?" Camilla felt a wave of anger rise inside her. "You call this celebrating? It looks like a battalion of soldiers lived here. Everything's wrecked." "My apartment, Diego." "Mine. We just finished renovating it." "Why are you yelling, Cammy?" her husband replied with irritation. "So we didn't clean up perfectly. Big deal. Mom just wanted to do something nice. She invited her friends, co-workers. You only turned 60 once. Her apartment's too small for everyone. Didn't clean up perfectly? This place is a dump. The parquet's ruined, the wallpaper's stained, my plants are broken. Who are all these people? And why are there women's swimsuits in the bathroom? Cammy, I'll explain everything, I promise. I'll come by tonight. Just don't get worked up, okay? You just got out of the hospital." Her own physical weakness after the surgery only made the helplessness worse. "Come now," she said sharply. "I have a lot of questions." Diego started mumbling something again, but Camilla had already ended the call. She couldn't just sit and stare at this nightmare. She got up and slowly walked through the apartment, taking photos of all the damage with her phone. A deep scratch on the floor, clearly from heavy furniture being dragged. A greasy stain on the brand new wallpaper. A shattered crystal vase, her parents' housewarming gift. A broken cabinet door. A ripped-up couch in the guest room. A loose tile in the bathroom. Memories hit her in waves. She had met Diego at a company party. She was in accounting, he just started in sales. Tall, handsome, charming. He courted her with flowers, restaurants, weekend getaways. 6 months later, he proposed. Camilla's parents weren't thrilled. Too fast, they'd said. You don't really know him yet. But she was in love. She thought she did know him. Her first meeting with his mother, Gloria, should have been a warning. A sharp-eyed woman with an annoying habit of interrupting, Gloria had shown barely concealed disapproval. "Diego, she's not the right one for you," she said in front of Camilla. "Too quiet. And she dresses so plainly." That was the first time Diego disappointed her. Instead of defending Camilla, he tried to persuade his mother, she's actually kind of pretty, and she owns her own apartment. Even then, the materialistic undertone stung, but Camilla chose to ignore it. There had been other red flags. Diego always prioritized his mother's wishes. If she called on a weekend and wanted help with something, plans with Camilla were canceled, no discussion. Vacations were planned around how lonely Mom would feel. Even on their honeymoon, he called his mother every day to report what they were doing and where they were. Camilla snapped a photo of another atrocity, cigarette butts in her favorite flower pot, and collapsed heavily onto a chair. A message popped up from her aunt. "How are you, sweetie? Everything okay?" Camilla didn't respond. What was she supposed to say? That she came back from the brink of death to a ransacked home? The sound of a key turning in the lock made her flinch. Diego appeared in the doorway, dressed in an expensive suit, holding a bouquet of flowers, wearing a sheepish smile. "Camilla, I'm so glad you're home." He tried to hug her, but she pulled away. "You've lost weight, sweetheart. What happened here?" Camilla asked coldly, ignoring his attempts at tenderness. Diego laid the flowers on the table, shifted awkwardly, and began his clumsy explanation. You see, it was Mom's birthday, her 60th. She'd been planning a big party for ages. And then, you were suddenly hospitalized. At first, we wanted to book a restaurant, but the prices were insane. Then Mom said, Diego, why not at your place? It's big, beautiful, freshly renovated. So I've agreed. Did it ever occur to you that this is my apartment? That I was in intensive care, fighting for my life, while you were in here, partying? Cammy, why are you attacking me? We're family. My mom is your mom. I couldn't say no to her, try to understand. Yeah, things got a bit out of hand. We had a wild time, sure. And okay, we didn't exactly clean up. But it's all fixable. Fixable? Camilla threw her phone onto the table, the screen showing a gallery of destruction. This is what you call a bit out of hand? How many people were even here? Diego hesitated. Well, it started with around 20. Then some of Mom's old classmates came. Her coworkers. Some neighbors dropped by. My cousin came over with her friends. Altogether, maybe 40, 50. 40? In my apartment? Camilla gasped. And the swimsuits in the bathroom? Oh, that. They all went to the sauna afterward. Got changed here. Camilla felt dizzy. This was surreal. A nightmare. Was this really her life? Was this spineless man in front of her really her husband? And how many days did this celebration last? She asked, putting pointed emphasis on the last word. 3. 3 days, Diego admitted, avoiding her eyes. Mom was going to clean everything up herself, but there wasn't time, and then you came back so suddenly. 3 weeks, Diego. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. That's not sudden. Diego lowered his head, then suddenly brightened. We'll fix everything, Camilla. I swear. We'll hire a cleaning service, get new wallpaper if needed. Mom promised to help with the cleaning. Camilla looked at him and didn't recognize the man she had married. How had she not seen this weakness in him before, this constant need to please his mother, no matter the cost? And how exactly do you plan to pay for all this? She asked. What do you mean? I mean exactly what I said. Cleaning services, new wallpaper, parquet repairs, that all costs money. A lot of money. Diego fidgeted with the sleeve of his jacket, hesitating. Well, I thought maybe you had some savings. Something broke inside Camilla. 3 weeks in intensive care. A huge medical bill. Sick leave from work. And he was asking her about her savings? Don't you have any money? She asked bluntly. Didn't you just get a bonus? And anyway, if you throw a party for 50 people, you should be able to afford it. Diego stared at the floor, and his silence spoke volumes. Diego? I took out a loan, he muttered at last. For Mom's birthday. 300,000. Camilla felt her knees start to give way. How much? 300,000, he repeated, more confidently now. What's the big deal? Everyone has loans these days. I'll pay it off gradually. What did you even spend that kind of money on? Camilla could hardly believe what she was hearing. Alcohol and snacks. But not just that, Diego perked up. We bought Mom a fur coat, she's always wanted one. And a gold bracelet with diamonds. And we rented a restaurant for the first day, had a full banquet. Paid for taxis for all the guests. And... Camilla raised her hand to stop him. Wait. You took out a loan for 300,000 to buy your mother a fur coat and jewelry while I was in the hospital, nearly dying? Cammy, that was before you were hospitalized. We'd already planned everything, started putting money aside. Diego's voice now had a desperate edge. And I'll repay it myself. It's my responsibility. Your responsibility? She stared at him like he was a stranger. So, for the next 6 months, All your income will go to the bank, and what are we supposed to live on? My salary? Diego opened his mouth, then shut it again. That was what he had planned, clearly, but he couldn't bring himself to say it out loud. Camilla rose slowly and walked over to the window. Outside, it was still the same bright spring day. The sun was shining. But inside, something had gone cold and still. She realized with startling clarity, the man standing behind her wasn't a husband, not a partner, not a support system, he was another dependent. Someone who would drain her energy, her strength, her money. 3 weeks ago, lying in a hospital bed with IVs in her arms, overhearing doctors whispering things like critical condition, but there's a chance, Camilla had rethought everything. The fear of death hadn't been as terrifying as the fear of living a meaningless, unloved life. Even half-conscious from the medications, she had made herself a promise: if I survive, I won't waste another minute on fake relationships or people who don't value me. Now, looking at Diego fidgeting across the room, she understood this was her chance to start over. Without this immature man. Without his domineering mother. Without endless compromises and sacrifices. Diego, she said quietly, turning to face him, I want you to leave. What? He stared at her, confused. Where to? To Mom's? Anywhere you want. Just not here. You don't live here anymore. Diego laughed, thinking she was joking. Cammy, come on. Is this really about the apartment? We'll clean it up, restore everything. No, Diego. It's not about the apartment. It's about you. About the kind of man you are. While I was fighting for my life, you were throwing parties. While I was in critical condition, you were buying your mother a fur coat. While we were still paying off our renovation loan, you took out another for some insane birthday bash. You know what? I'm actually glad this happened. Now I finally see you for who you are. Diego went pale, then flushed, then pale again. You can't kick me out. We're married. This is our shared apartment. No, it's my apartment, Camilla replied calmly. Premarital property, remember? We never registered it as joint ownership. You have 1 hour to pack your essentials. The rest you can pick up later, when I'm at work. Diego started to say something, then grabbed his phone. I'm calling Mom. She'll talk some sense into you. No, Camilla raised her hand. No calls to your mother. This is between you and me. You have 59 minutes left. Just then, the doorbell rang. Without waiting for Diego's reaction, Camilla went to open it. On the doorstep stood her mother-in-law, holding a box of cheap chocolates. The circle was complete, a new act of this drama was beginning. Camilla, sweetheart. Gloria exclaimed cheerfully, stepping forward with open arms. Finally, you're out of the hospital. How are you feeling? Camilla stood silently in the doorway, not letting her mother-in-law in, ignoring the attempted hug. She carefully steadied the woman in front of her, tall, broad-shouldered, with freshly styled dyed hair, dressed in an expensive suit, a brand new gold bracelet gleaming on her wrist, obviously the one from her birthday. The heavy perfume filled the entire hallway. Camilla, why are you acting like a stranger? Let me in, I brought you a little something. Gloria tried to squeeze past her, but Camilla didn't move. A little something? Camilla repeated quietly. Your favorite chocolates, Gloria said, proudly displaying the bent box from a nearby supermarket. I remember you have a sweet tooth. Camilla glanced down at the box, wrinkled, with dented corners, clearly pulled out of some cabinet at the last minute. The whole thing was so absurd she could barely suppress a bitter laugh. Come on in, Gloria, Camilla finally said, stepping aside. Diego's just finishing packing. Gloria froze mid-step. Packing? Packing for what? He's moving in with you, Camilla said calmly. Whether it's temporary or permanent, that's between the two of you. Gloria's face transformed instantly. The friendly smile vanished, her eyes narrowed, and her voice dropped a tone. What is this nonsense? Diego. She stormed into the apartment without taking off her shoes. What's going on here? Camilla slowly closed the door and followed her inside. The strength she thought she'd lost an hour ago was returning. After deciding to end things with Diego, it was like a crushing weight had been lifted off her shoulders. In the living room, Gloria was already interrogating her son, who was fumbling with a gym bag, trying to pack. What's happening? Why are you packing? What has she been telling you? Mom, quiet down. Diego looked nervously at Camilla standing in the doorway. Camilla came home and got a little upset about, well, the mess from your birthday party. The mess? Gloria scoffed, glancing dismissively around the apartment. So what? It could have been cleaned tomorrow. And she's throwing her husband out over that? Are you out of your mind, girl? Camilla leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, feeling a surprising sense of calm. It's not just about the mess, Gloria. And don't bother looking for someone to blame. This is my decision, carefully thought through. Oh, listen to her. Gloria threw up her hands dramatically. A decision, she says. Did you forget you have a husband? That you're a family? Mom, please don't start, Diego mumbled, tossing clothes into the bag. Don't start what? Gloria spun toward him. You're seriously going to leave just because she told you to? Where's your pride, Diego? He looked pitiful, slouched, avoiding eye contact with both women. Camilla said it's her apartment, he muttered. So what? You're married. Everything should be shared equally. Camilla decided to end the circus. Gloria, legally, this apartment is my premarital property. Diego and I never signed a prenuptial agreement, nor did we register it as joint ownership. Diego has no legal claim to it. Gloria froze for a second, clearly stunned by Camilla's cold, legal tone, but quickly regrouped and went on the offensive. Oh, aren't you clever, she snapped. Planned it all, didn't you? Trapped my boy into marriage, and now you're tossing him out like trash. Mom. Diego finally snapped out of his daze. Don't talk to Cammy like that. You were the one who insisted we get married, remember? You said Camilla was a good match. She had her own apartment, a stable job. Gloria shot him a scathing look, and he immediately wilted under her glare. Camilla, sweetheart, his mother suddenly switched to a syrupy tone, her voice oozing false warmth. Let's sit down and talk this out, woman to woman. I understand you're upset about the mess. But that's all fixable. We'll clean everything up, I promise. I'll come over tomorrow morning with Maria, my housekeeper. She'll scrub everything spotless. You have a housekeeper? Camilla asked coolly. Diego told me you were tight on money. That's why you celebrated here instead of at a restaurant. Gloria hesitated for a split second. Well, I mean, Maria's my neighbor. She helps out sometimes. For a symbolic fee. Camilla nodded, mentally taking note, another lie in a long line of them. Gloria, she continued calmly, this isn't just about the mess. Although I must say, throwing a 3-day party for 50 people in a newly renovated apartment, without the owner present, is, to put it mildly, incredibly disrespectful. Disrespectful? Gloria raised her voice again. We're family. Close relatives. And Diego didn't object, did you, sweetie? Diego muttered something unintelligible, eyes still fixed on the floor. Camilla ignored the interruption. On top of that, I found out Diego took out a loan for 300,000 pesos to fund your birthday party. And so what? Gloria lifted her chin defiantly. I'm his mother. I have a right to some love and attention from my own son. Of course you do, Camilla nodded. But not at my expense. What do you have to do with it? Diego wanted to treat his mother. Gloria, Camilla stepped closer, feeling her resolve solidify inside her. Diego will spend at least 6 months repaying that loan. His entire paycheck. And we still need to live. Off my salary? After I just went through a major surgery and now face a long recovery? I don't need a dependent who blew all his money on his mother's birthday party while I was fighting for my life in the ICU. Gloria faltered for a moment, then laughed. Oh, Camilla, you sound like a child. So what? It's a loan. Everyone has loans these days. Diego will pay it back bit by bit. And I'll help 2,000-3,000 pesos every month from my pension. As soon as it gets approved. Camilla suddenly felt a wave of bone-deep exhaustion. All the manipulations. The fake concern. The empty promises. It had all started the day Diego brought her to meet his mother. She remembered that first meeting. Gloria had greeted her in a silk robe, hair and makeup done to perfection like she'd just stepped out of a salon. The apartment was spotless, the table laid out with fancy appetizers. Diego, darling, introduce me to your girlfriend, she'd purred, hugging her son so tightly it was as if they hadn't seen each other in years, though in fact, he visited her every other day. Over tea, Gloria had gone on at length about her difficult life, how she'd raised Diego alone, sacrificed everything for him. Her eyes sparkled theatrically as she spoke, while Diego nodded with such reverence that it made Camilla uncomfortable. Even then, she had sensed something off, a strange dependency, an unhealthy closeness between mother and son. But love clouded her vision. She convinced herself that once they were married and had their own household, things would settle. How wrong she had been. After the wedding, Gloria started showing up almost daily. She came by just to check in but ended up staying the whole day. She criticized everything, from their furniture choices to the way Camilla brewed tea. She would call at 2 a.m. with some urgent need. If Camilla and Diego made weekend plans, Gloria would always swoop in with a last-minute crisis requiring their immediate attention. Camilla developed insomnia. Headaches. She stopped inviting friends over because Gloria was always there, always taking over. And Diego saw nothing wrong. His mother's interference was completely normal to him. Camilla remembered the day she was rushed to the hospital. The sharp pain in her abdomen, the ambulance, the diagnosis, acute pancreatitis, emergency surgery. Diego had been there in the ER, but the moment she was wheeled into the operating room, he vanished. A nurse later told her he'd left almost immediately. His mother had called. 3 weeks in intensive care, Camilla was alone. Diego showed up twice, for a few minutes each time. Both visits began with, "Mom won't let me stay long. Her birthday's coming up. So much to do." And now this woman stood in her destroyed apartment, offering to help with a laughable monthly contribution from a pension she didn't even have yet. Camilla straightened up, her voice firm and final. "Gloria, I want both of you out of my apartment. Now." "How dare you?" Gloria gasped, outraged. "You have no right to speak to us like that. Diego, are you hearing the way she's talking to us?" Diego shifted awkwardly from foot to foot, holding a half-packed bag in his hands. "Mom, maybe we really should go. Camilla probably just needs some rest after the trip." "We're not going anywhere," Gloria snapped. "This is your home. You live here. And her? She's just a spoiled little girl who doesn't appreciate good treatment." Camilla silently pulled out her phone and opened the gallery. There were photos of the apartment before the renovation, old wallpaper, worn-out linoleum, ancient furniture left from her grandmother. Next, she opened photos taken after the renovation, bright walls, new parquet floors, modern furniture, everything clean and cozy. Finally, she found the photos she had taken just an hour ago, everything ruined, filthy, trashed. "Here, Gloria," Camilla said, holding out the phone. This was the before. This was the after. And this, she swiped to the latest photos, this is what you turned it into in just 3 days of celebrating. Gloria glanced at the screen, grimaced, and waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, please. So it's a little messy. It'll be fine tomorrow." "A little?" Camilla began scrolling through the images. Ruined parquet. Burned wallpaper. Broken furniture. cracked fixtures. That's a little messy? Oh, stop being so dramatic. Gloria rolled her eyes theatrically. Minor damage. We'll fix it up, it'll be good as new. With what money? Camilla asked quietly. Diego is drowning in debt, and you're promising 3,000 pesos from a pension that doesn't even exist. Who's going to pay for a new renovation? Gloria fell silent for a second, then narrowed her eyes. Maybe this was your plan all along. What? Maybe you set this all up. Married my son just to kick him out later so you could move in your new lover. Diego, think about it. What if she met someone in the hospital? Mom. Even Diego looked shocked by the accusation. Camilla just got out of intensive care. They barely allowed any visitors. Camilla exhaled slowly. This conversation was going nowhere. Gloria was shifting into her usual mode, twisting the narrative, painting herself as the victim and Camilla as the villain. In 1 week, I expect full compensation for damages, Camilla said firmly, looking Gloria straight in the eye. Including early repayment of your son's loan. I'm not going to support him while he pays it off. Otherwise, these photos go straight to the prosecutor's office with a formal complaint. What? Gloria turned pale. That's blackmail. That's called a claim for damages, Camilla corrected coldly. You held an unauthorized party on private property and caused extensive material damage. Legally, I have every right to demand compensation. You're going to the prosecutor. Gloria laughed nervously, but fear flickered in her eyes. And what are you going to say? That your mother-in-law celebrated her birthday in her son's apartment? In my apartment, Camilla corrected. Without my knowledge or permission. Causing damages worth hundreds of thousands. That qualifies as unlawful entry and deliberate destruction of property. Articles 139 and 167 of the Criminal Code, if I'm not mistaken. Gloria blinked, visibly stunned, clearly not expecting her quiet daughter-in-law to know the legal codes. You're bluffing. You're not going to do that. Want to find out? Camilla said, scrolling to more of the worst photos. By the way, I have witnesses, neighbors who heard dozens of strangers partying here for days while I was in the hospital. That's more than enough to file a report. Gloria looked helplessly from Camilla to Diego and back. Her usual tactics weren't working. Her threats had no effect. For the first time since they'd met, the quiet Camilla was showing backbone. Diego, she turned to her son, tell this wife of yours that this isn't how we do things. We're a family. Diego swallowed hard. Mom, maybe Camilla has a right to be angry. We might have gone a little overboard with the party. You're taking her side? Gloria cried, dramatically clutching her chest. I raised you, gave you everything, sacrificed everything, and now... Enough, Camilla cut in. I expect full compensation within the week. Now, please leave. You'll regret this, girl, Gloria hissed, abruptly changing tactics. You'll regret ever getting involved with us. I'll make sure of it. Mom, Diego finally finished packing his bag. Let's go. Seriously. Cammie's right. I messed up. She needs space. Space? She's kicking you out of your own home. My home, Camilla corrected calmly. And it's final. Gloria shot her a look full of venom, then turned sharply toward the door, expecting her son to follow. Diego hesitated at the threshold. Cammie, I really didn't think it would turn out like this. Go, Diego, Camilla said wearily, waving her hand. There's nothing more to say. My lawyer will contact you about the divorce. Lawyer? His face went pale. Can't we just talk? Work it out like adults? Diego, came Gloria's commanding voice from the hallway. Get over here. Now. He flinched as if struck, cast one last pleading look at Camilla, and followed his mother out. The click of the closing door marked the end of a 9-month marriage to a man who had never truly become her husband. Camilla slowly sank onto the edge of the couch and closed her eyes. Outside, the sun had slipped away, leaving behind soft twilight. From the open window drifted the sounds of a spring evening, birds chirping, leaves rustling, distant voices. Life was continuing. Her thoughts were scattered and disjointed. She thought about when she met Diego, about what had attracted her to this charming but spineless man. About how she had ignored all the red flags. About how her mother-in-law had slowly, systematically dismantled their marriage with her constant interference. And about how the illness that brought her to the edge of death had given her the clarity to finally see her life for what it was. She remembered the hospital room, the rhythmic beeping of monitors, the foggy dreams from heavy medication. She had once read that people who experience clinical death often come back changed. They stop fearing small things, become intolerant of lies, and start valuing time more. Maybe that's what had happened to her. She hadn't died, but she had come close enough to look death in the eye. And something inside her had shifted. Camilla used to worry about what others thought. She feared conflict, tried to please everyone, especially her mother-in-law. She'd convinced herself that with enough patience and kindness, Gloria would accept her. But now she understood that had been an illusion. Gloria never intended to accept her because she had no desire to share her son with anyone. And Diego? Diego had always chosen his mother. That would never change. Her phone rang, pulling her out of her thoughts. The screen showed her cousin's name. "Cammy, how are you?" Paula's voice was full of genuine concern. "I'm okay," Camilla tried to steady her voice. "Just tired. Rosa just called me. She said your face looked off when she dropped you off. What happened?" Camilla took a deep breath and answered honestly. "I kicked Diego out." "What? Why?" Paula gasped. "Because while I was in the ICU, he and his mother threw a 3-day party for 50 people in my apartment. Destroyed everything. And he took out a loan, 300,000 pesos, for her birthday." There was stunned silence on the line. "Holy crap," Paula finally breathed. "That mama's boy has lost his damn mind. Is the apartment badly damaged?" "Very," Camilla felt tears prick her eyes. "The renovation is ruined. The furniture's damaged. So many of my things are broken. Bastards." Paula's voice trembled with rage. "You know what? I'm coming over. We'll deal with the mess together." "Don't," Camilla shook her head, even though Paula couldn't see it. "I'll manage. Really. I just need to be alone and process everything. I'm so exhausted." "Are you sure?" Paula asked, clearly unconvinced. "You just got out of the hospital, and now this?" "I'm sure. I'll get some sleep tonight. Tomorrow I'll start dealing with it all. Thank you for calling." After the call ended, Camilla slowly looked around the room. Cleaning this mess herself was impossible. She would need to hire a professional service. She didn't even have the energy to clear off the bed. Darkness had fully settled outside. Camilla found clean bedding in the closet, spread it out on the couch in the guest room, the least damaged space, and lay down without bothering to eat. Her body ached with fatigue, and her mind spun with fragments of the day's conversations, blurred together with images of the hospital. "I expect full compensation within a week." Her own words echoed in Camilla's ears. Will I really be able to make them pay? Gloria didn't seem like someone who gave in easily. But Camilla was no longer the frightened girl she had been just a month ago. A strange sense of calm wrapped around her like a warm blanket. For the first time in a long while, she felt truly free. The apartment may have been a wreck, the future uncertain, but now her life belonged to her alone. No more compromises. No more bending. No more pretending. With that thought, Camilla drifted into a deep, healing sleep, the first in many weeks. The morning began with an obnoxious, persistent ringing at the door. Camilla struggled to open her eyes, disoriented from sleep. Where was she? What room was this? And then, like an avalanche, yesterday's events crashed into her memory: the hospital, coming home, the destruction, the confrontation, Diego's departure. And who the hell is ringing the doorbell this early? The ringing didn't stop. Someone was pressing the button with the fury of the damned. Camilla got up slowly, her entire body aching. The surgical wound throbbed with a deep, nagging pain at every movement. I'm coming, she mumbled, throwing on a robe. Peeking through the peephole, she saw Gloria, accompanied by a plump middle-aged woman holding a bucket and a mop. Open up, Camilla. Gloria's voice was unnaturally cheerful. We came to help. I brought Maria, just like I promised. Camilla leaned her forehead against the cool door, gathering her thoughts. Seeing that woman again was the last thing she wanted, but on the other hand, the apartment did desperately need cleaning. Good morning, she said, opening the door. Didn't expect you this early. We decided to get a head start, Gloria said breezily, pushing her way inside without hesitation. It's already almost 9. Come in, Maria, don't be shy. The woman with the bucket gave a shy nod and slipped in behind her. She smelled faintly of cheap cigarettes and plain soap. Don't worry, Camilla, we'll handle everything ourselves, Gloria said briskly, glancing around like she hadn't threatened Camilla just the day before. Maria here is a cleaning wizard. She scrubbed worse messes, right, Maria? Yeah, sure, Maria mumbled, eyeing the disaster. This'll take at least half a day. You'll manage, Gloria snapped. And while you clean, Camilla and I will have a nice cup of tea and a chat. Camilla opened her mouth to object, but Gloria was already steering her through the piles of trash toward the kitchen. Sit, Gloria bustled around, opening cupboards. I'll make you some tea. Where's the loose leaf? Ah, here it is. Camilla watched in silence. Yesterday this woman had hissed threats at her like a viper, and today she was playing the part of a concerned mother-in-law. What's going on, Gloria? Camilla finally said. Thanks for bringing the help, but I don't need tea. And there's nothing for us to talk about. We settled things yesterday. Gloria froze, kettle in hand. Oh, Camilla, don't be so resentful, she said, resuming her tea-making as if nothing had happened. We all said things we didn't mean yesterday. These things happen. Families argue. We're not a family anymore, Camilla said firmly. I've decided to divorce Diego. Nonsense, Gloria said, placing a cup of tea in front of her. You're just emotional after the hospital. Your nerves are shot, I get it. My Diego is upset too. He didn't sleep all night, tossing and turning. He loves you. If he loved me, he wouldn't have thrown a party while I was in the ICU. Oh, come on. What was he supposed to do, sit around in mourning? Gloria waved her hand with fake casualness. It was my birthday. That doesn't come every day. Diego couldn't say no to his mother. So that's why he took out a 300,000 peso loan? Camilla met her gaze without flinching. For your birthday? Gloria hesitated. Why are you so hung up on that loan? Big deal. Everyone's in debt these days. We'll pay it off. I'll help. With 3,000 pesos from a pension you don't even have yet, Camilla finished dryly. Camilla, why are you being so clinical? Counting every peso like an accountant? Gloria laughed nervously. A family isn't a balance sheet. What matters is love, support. Exactly, Camilla pushed the untouched teacup away. And support is exactly what I didn't get from you or your son. While I was fighting for my life, you were celebrating. That 300,000 could have gone toward my treatment. But no, it went to your party. And now you show up with a cleaning lady like that somehow fixes it all? What do you want from us? Gloria's voice had taken on a shrill edge. Should we crawl on our knees? Beg for forgiveness? We came here to help, didn't we? Diego wanted to come too, but he was urgently called into work. I want full compensation for the damages, Camilla replied calmly, including repayment of Diego's loan. Just like I said yesterday. Gloria narrowed her eyes. That's blackmail. You wouldn't dare go to the police. I would, Camilla said, pulling out her phone and showing Gloria the photos of the destruction. Everything's documented. And I've already contacted the police. It wasn't true, Camilla hadn't gone to the station yet. But Gloria's face told her the bluff had worked. You. Gloria turned pale. You can't do this to us. To Diego. He's your husband. For now, Camilla replied. That's about to change. From the living room came the clatter of a mop and bucket. Maria had started cleaning. Gloria drummed her fingers on the table, clearly thinking. Fine, she said at last, changing her tone again. So what do you expect? That we sell our apartment? Where do you think we'll find that kind of money? Not my problem, Camilla said firmly. You don't have to sell an apartment. But you do have valuables. The diamond bracelet Diego mentioned. The fur coat. Your gold jewelry. I saw that new bracelet on your wrist yesterday. It must be worth quite a bit. Gloria instinctively covered her wrist with her hand. You're crazy. You expect me to sell my things? That was a gift from my son. Bought with credit, Camilla reminded her. Credit that we have to repay. And by we I mean me, because Diego's whole paycheck will be going to the bank. So what? You're his wife. You're supposed to support him. In good times and bad, remember? The marriage certificate said nothing about funding your birthday party from our household budget. Camilla allowed herself a slight smile. You have 1 week, Gloria. Then I go to the prosecutor's office. They were interrupted by Maria peeking into the kitchen. The linoleum in the bathroom needs replacing. And the tile too, it's coming off. I can't fix that, she said apologetically. Also, what should I use on the couch? There's some weird stains. I'm not sure what they are. Do what you can, Maria. Gloria waved her hand and stood up. We're done talking. Camilla blames us for everything anyway. Camilla silently walked her mother-in-law to the door. Think it over, girl, Gloria said quietly as she stepped out. Don't destroy your family. Diego loves you. So much that he chose your birthday party over my time in intensive care, Camilla replied, closing the door. Left alone with Maria, she felt a twinge of awkwardness. Sorry you got dragged into our family drama. It's fine, Maria waved it off. I've seen worse. Gloria only offered me 1,000 pesos for the whole day, by the way. I'll pay the rest, Camilla said immediately. This job is clearly worth more than that. Maria gave her a grateful smile and returned to cleaning. Camilla headed to the bathroom. She needed to get herself together and figure out her next steps. Standing under the shower, she replayed everything in her mind. It was unlikely that Gloria would willingly sell her jewelry, but the threat of legal action might scare her, especially if it came with backup from a lawyer. After the shower, Camilla called her friend Lucia, who worked at a law firm. Lucia, hi, it's Cami. I need your professional advice. An hour later, she was sitting in a small law office, laying out the entire situation to Lucia and her colleague, Ricardo. So they threw a party in your absence, without permission, and damaged your property, Ricardo summarized, taking notes. Do you have photo evidence of the damage? A full gallery, Camilla said, handing over her phone. I documented everything in detail. The lawyers leaned over the screen, scrolling through the images. Yeah, that's significant damage, Lucia said, shaking her head. Do you have proof that they were the ones who did this? Neighbors, Camilla nodded. Several people can confirm that there was a crowd of guests making noise in the apartment for 3 days straight, while I wasn't even in the city. Besides, my husband admitted that he and his mother organized the birthday party there. Good, Ricardo continued taking notes. What about the loan? Do you have any documentation? Only his word for now, Camilla admitted. But I can find out the details, what bank, when it was taken out. Make sure you do, Lucia nodded. That's an important point. If the loan was taken before your marriage, it's his personal responsibility. If it was during the marriage, it might be considered shared debt if the funds were used for family needs. A mother-in-law's birthday party is not a family necessity, Ricardo clarified. Especially if you didn't give your consent to the spending. Camilla felt her resolve growing stronger. This wasn't just an emotional reaction to betrayal anymore, she had a plan, backed by legal understanding. We'll draft a formal claim for you, Lucia concluded. The basis will be unlawful entry and property damage. Those are serious offenses, Camilla. If they refuse to pay voluntarily, you can file a police report and take it to court. And the chances are strong, Ricardo added. Especially with your evidence and witnesses. As Camilla left the office, a strange sense of relief washed over her. For the first time in a long while, she had no doubts about the rightness of her actions. There was no lingering urge to smooth things over, no temptation to forgive. In its place was a calm, steady certainty. On her way home, her phone rang. Diego. Cammy, it's me, his voice sounded unsure. Can I stop by today? To pick up my things and talk? Camilla paused, then answered. You can pick up your things. But there's nothing left to talk about. Cammy, don't be like that, his voice took on a pleading tone. I love you. I know I screwed up, but that's no reason to tear this family apart. You tore it apart, Diego. When you chose your mother's birthday over your sick wife. When you let a 3-day circus happen in my home. When you took out a loan without even telling me. But I'm trying to fix it, he cried. Mom even sent Maria to clean. And you really think one cleaning lady can fix the damage that was done? Camilla said coldly. The parquet is ruined, the wallpaper is stained, the furniture's broken, the bathroom needs repairs. I'll fix everything. I swear. Just give me a chance, Cammy. Diego's voice cracked with desperation. You already had plenty of chances, Diego, she sighed. Pick up your things in the evening. I'll be home after 6. When Camilla got back, she found that Maria had accomplished the near impossible. Most of the garbage was gone, the floors had been mopped, the bathroom scrubbed. Of course, it didn't fix the damaged parquet or ruined wallpaper, but at least she could walk around the apartment again. Thank you so much, Camilla handed the woman a wad of cash, far more than Gloria had promised. You were a huge help. Yeah, they really trashed the place, Maria shook her head, pocketing the money. I've cleaned up after Gloria's parties before, but never anything like this. And the guests, they were wild. All her fancy co-workers and rich relatives. All in my apartment while I was in the hospital, Camilla said with a bitter smile. Maria gave her a sympathetic look. That's rough. You're still young and already going through this. Did your husband at least help while you were in the hospital? No, Camilla answered simply. He was busy with his mother's birthday. Ugh. Men, Maria sighed, gathering her mop and bucket. Mine used to be just like that, tied to his mother's apron strings. Life got easier once she passed away. After Maria left, Camilla opened all the windows to air out the apartment. The lingering odors of booze, sweat, and stale perfume slowly began to fade. Then she took out her phone and began calling renovation companies, asking for estimates. Plumbing, tile, parquet, wallpaper, the costs added up with every quote. By evening, she had a rough estimate, around 250,000 pesos. And that didn't even include the furniture that would need to be replaced. At exactly 6 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Diego was standing on the threshold with 2 large bags. Hi, he said, smiling uncertainly, his voice just as unsure. Can I come in? Camilla silently stepped aside to let him into the hallway. Wow, it's already cleaned up, he noted, glancing around. See? Mom helped, just like she promised. Your mom sent one woman, Camilla replied coldly. Paid her 1,000 pesos. I paid 5 times more because the work was worth far more than that. Diego looked embarrassed. Well, Mom did what she could. She doesn't have much money. She had enough for a fur coat and a diamond bracelet, Camilla said. Enough to throw a party for 50 people. But for cleaning? 1,000 pesos. Cammy, can we not do this again? Diego threw up his hands in frustration. I get it. We messed up. I messed up. How many times do I have to hear it? As many times as it takes, until the damage is paid for. What damage? It was just a bit of a mess. Camilla handed him a piece of paper. Here's the estimate for repairs. 250,000 pesos, not including the furniture. Plus the 300,000 loan you took out. That's over $500,000 total. Diego stared at the paper, then looked up in shock. You're kidding, right? Where am I supposed to get that kind of money? That's not my problem, Camilla shrugged. You and your mother caused the destruction. You'll have to pay for it. Look, I get that you're angry, Diego softened his tone. But this is too much. We're family, remember? Not anymore. I filed for divorce. Diego paled. What? When? Today. I went through all the legal details. The process will take some time, especially if you contest it, but the result will be the same. Cammy, you can't. He took a step toward her, reaching for her hands. She pulled away. I love you. We've only been married a year. 9 months, Camilla corrected. And I haven't felt loved for a long time. It's because of my mom, isn't it? Diego frowned. She can be difficult. But she means well. No, Diego. She means well only for herself, and for you, and the way she understands it. I was never part of that picture. I never fit in. That's not true, he raised his voice. Mom always said nice things about you. To your face, maybe, Camilla said with a sad smile. But did you ever notice how she tried to control our lives? How she inserted herself into every decision? How she turned you against me? No, you turned me against her. Diego snapped, his anger flaring. You were always jealous. Always upset when I helped her. I was upset when you canceled our plans for her whims. When you spent our money on gifts for her. When you let her decide how we should live, Camilla said calmly, emotionless. But none of that matters now. We're done. No. Diego grabbed her shoulders. I won't agree to a divorce. Do you hear me? I won't. Let go, Camilla said quietly. You're hurting me. He immediately released her and took a step back. I'm sorry. Cammy, let's start over. I'll stop listening to Mom so much, I promise. I'll spend more time with you. It's too late, Diego, she shook her head. Too much has happened. I don't feel the same way anymore. And I don't believe your promises. Diego sank into a chair, burying his head in his hands. All because of that damn birthday. If it hadn't been for that. It's not about the birthday, Camilla said gently. The birthday just showed me who you really are. Who your mother is. And where I stand in your value system. I'll prove I can change, Diego lifted his head. Just give me a chance. I'll take on extra work, repay the loan myself, I won't ask you for a single peso. And what will you live on? Camilla asked tiredly. I'll manage, Diego wiped his moist eyes. Just don't throw me out. I won't survive it. Camilla looked at him and barely recognized the man before her. Where was the confident man who had once won her heart? Now he was a frightened boy, unable to take responsibility for his actions. Pack your things, Diego, she said quietly. There's nothing left for us to talk about. I'm not going anywhere, he suddenly shouted, clenching his fists. This is my home. No. It's my home, Camilla repeated calmly. And if you don't leave voluntarily, I'll call the police. You wouldn't dare, he stepped toward her. Without a word, Camilla pulled out her phone and dialed. Hello, police? My name is Camilla Mendoza, my address is. Wait. Diego snatched the phone from her hand. Are you crazy? Calling the police on your husband? Camilla didn't raise her voice, but the look in her eyes made Diego retreat. Give me back my phone. And leave. Now. He hesitated, then handed her the phone. Cammy, let's just talk calmly. We already did. There's nothing left to say. You can take your bags. I'll pack the rest and send them to you later. This is Paula's doing, isn't it? Diego started to bristle again. She's always hated me. Hated my mother too. This has nothing to do with Paula, Camilla shook her head. This is my decision. And it's final. Diego grabbed his bags, yanked open one of them, checking its contents. Not all my stuff is here. I told you, I'll pack the rest and send it, Camilla said as she walked to the door. Goodbye, Diego. This isn't goodbye, he followed her with the bags. You'll change your mind. Just wait. Camilla silently opened the door. In the hallway, their neighbor, a middle-aged woman, was returning from work. She paused, curiously watching the scene. Good evening, Dona Carmen, Camilla greeted her as if nothing out of the ordinary was happening. Evening, Camilla, the woman replied. Is Diego moving out? Yes, he's moving back in with his mother, Camilla said calmly. Diego shot her a furious look but said nothing with the neighbor present. We're not done talking, he hissed and stormed down the stairs. It's always like that with husbands, Carmen said philosophically. First they worship their mothers, then their wives, and then, back to mama. Men. The following days passed in a strange state of weightlessness for Camilla. It felt like something inside her had finally shifted, fear was gone, doubts dissolved. After Diego's visit, she threw herself into practical matters, meeting with lawyers, collecting documents for the divorce, ordering an independent assessment of the apartment damage. Her phone rang constantly. Diego. His mother. Mutual friends trying to mediate. Camilla declined every call from the in-laws and briefly told friends. We're separating. The decision is final. On the third day after Diego's departure, the doorbell rang again. A man in a formal suit stood on the threshold. Camilla Mendoza, he asked formally. My name is Senor Martinez. I represent the bank Credit Finance. We've been informed that you intend to file a lawsuit against your husband, Diego Mendoza, regarding a loan he took from our institution. Camilla raised her eyebrows in surprise. That's incorrect. I'm not suing the bank or disputing my husband's loan. The man looked momentarily confused. But your mother-in-law, your husband's mother, called us and claimed that. My mother-in-law has no authority over my legal actions, Camilla interrupted him. And she cannot speak on my behalf. Understood, the man visibly relaxed. The loan was issued under the guarantee of your husband and his mother. Your name doesn't appear on any of the documents. Camilla nodded silently, processing the information. So legally, she wasn't tied to the debt, that was good news. So what now? She asked. Why did you come? Well, the man hesitated. Senora Gloria was very insistent. She claimed you intended to challenge the legality of the loan, and that it could create problems for the bank. So they sent you to intimidate me? Camilla didn't hide her sarcasm. No, not at all, the man seemed genuinely embarrassed. Just to clarify the situation. Everything on our end was handled legally, no violations in the issuance of the loan. I have no doubt, Camilla nodded. If my husband and his mother took out a loan, it's their responsibility to repay it. It doesn't concern me. The bank representative seemed relieved. Thank you for your understanding. If you have any questions about the loan, here's my card. After closing the door behind him, Camilla turned the business card over in her hand, deep in thought. So Gloria was starting to panic, trying to get ahead of things. An interesting move, but ultimately pointless. That evening, Paula called. Cammy, are you okay? Be honest. I'm okay, Camilla smiled, settling into a chair with a cup of tea. Strangely enough, I feel free. And financially, her cousin asked practically. You still need to fix the place, and you're on medical leave. I'll manage, Camilla took a sip of tea. I have some savings. And work promised to finally pay that bonus they'd been holding back. I'll start with the essentials. And those too. Paula was clearly choosing her words. Your mother-in-law and her golden boy, have they responded to your ultimatum at all? It's been quiet so far, Camilla sighed. Diego calls 20 times a day, one moment he's begging, the next he's threatening. The usual mix. And Gloria? She sicked the bank on me today, thinking I'd challenge the loan. What a bitch. Paula snapped. So what now? Now I wait. They've got 4 days left on the ultimatum. On the 5th day, 2 days before the deadline, the phone rang. It was Gloria. Camilla, we need to talk. Her voice sounded unusually subdued. Can I come over? Come ahead, Camilla replied briefly, mentally bracing herself for another round of manipulation. Gloria arrived an hour later. No makeup, plain clothes, and most surprisingly, no signature gold bracelet on her wrist. Come in, Camilla stepped aside to let her in. Her mother-in-law hesitantly walked into the living room, looking around. It's looking better in here. Almost tidy. To the point, Camilla didn't bother with small talk. Gloria sat heavily on the couch. Camilla, I've been thinking. Diego and we wronged you. Especially me. She pulled an envelope from her bag. Here. I gathered 150,000 pesos. It's not everything, but... Where from? Camilla asked directly. Gloria lowered her gaze. I sold the bracelet. The one from the birthday. And an old ring. Borrowed a bit from my sister, too. Camilla silently took the envelope and checked its contents. It really was a large sum in cash. It's for the repairs, Gloria continued. And about the loan. Diego and I agreed that I'll help him pay it back. For real this time, not like I said before. I found a part-time job. I'll be a night guard at a school. Camilla steadied her face, searching for signs of insincerity. But Gloria looked unexpectedly genuine, as if the mask she always wore had finally fallen away. Why did you decide to pay? Camilla asked. Was it because of the threat of going to the police? Her mother-in-law nervously clasped her fingers. Not just that. Diego, he's suffering. I've never seen him like this. He finally realized what he's lost. And She hesitated. I realized a lot too. That I put too much pressure on you both. That I crossed every line with that birthday celebration. And that my ultimatum wasn't just empty words, Camilla finished for her. Yes, Gloria admitted. I spoke to a lawyer. He said you have a 100% chance of winning if you take it to court. And that Diego and I would be in serious trouble. Camilla nodded, feeling a strange absence of satisfaction. She had expected Gloria's surrender to feel like a victory, but instead, she just felt tired. 150,000 is only part of the amount, she noted. The total cost of the repairs is higher. I know, Gloria said quickly. I'm selling the fur coat, the one I got for my birthday. But it'll take time to find a buyer. As soon as I sell it, I'll give you the rest. I swear. Camilla looked at the woman who, just a week ago, had been the main antagonist in her life. Now, she felt an odd sense of calm. No hatred, no anger, Just a clear understanding that this person no longer held any power over her. All right, she nodded. I'll accept this as the first part of the compensation. And I'll expect the rest once the coat is sold. Thank you, Camilla, Gloria smiled faintly. And about Diego? He really loves you. Maybe you could try again? I promise I won't interfere in your lives anymore. I swear. There it was, the real reason for the visit. Not just compensation, but an attempt to salvage her son's marriage. Camilla almost admired her persistence. No, she said firmly. Diego and I are separating. That's not up for discussion. But why? Gloria threw up her hands. He's truly remorseful. He swears he'll change. He'll stop drinking. He'll pay more attention to you. Diego drinks? Camilla asked, surprised. Her husband had never shown signs of alcohol abuse around her. Gloria froze, realizing she had said too much. Well, sometimes. With friends. Just a little. Camilla sighed. Gloria, I appreciate your remorse. And the money. But our marriage is over. I've already filed for divorce. Already? Gloria looked stunned. Why the rush? Because I see no point in dragging it out. The feelings are gone. The trust is broken. It's better for us to part peacefully and move on. Peacefully? Gloria suddenly perked up. So you're not going to the police? We have an agreement? So that was it, the real motivation behind the apologies and money, to avoid legal consequences. If you pay the full compensation, as agreed, Camilla said slowly, then I won't go to the authorities. But that doesn't mean there's any chance of me getting back with Diego. Gloria clearly wanted to argue but held herself back. I understand. Though I think you're making a mistake. Diego has really changed in these past few days. He even found a second job to help pay off the loan faster. I'm glad for him, Camilla said sincerely. I hope it helps him become more responsible. Gloria stood up, clearly realizing there was nothing more to be said. I'll sell the coat as soon as I can. I'll bring you the rest of the money. Thank you, Camilla said, walking her to the door. At the threshold, Gloria turned back. You know, Camilla, I've just now realized how strong you are. You've always been like that, and I never saw it. With those unexpected words, she left, leaving Camilla slightly stunned. A compliment? From Gloria? The world must be going mad. 3 days later, Gloria returned with another 100,000 pesos, less than she had hoped to get for the coat. Camilla accepted the money, signed a receipt for the compensation, and officially waived her claims. That was the last time they spoke. It was harder to get rid of Diego. He kept calling, sending messages, even showed up drunk under her windows several times, shouting about his love until the neighbors called the police. But eventually, even those visits stopped. The divorce was finalized quickly. Despite all his threats, Diego didn't resist the process. Camilla's lawyer had drawn up the papers in a way that made property division unnecessary. The apartment was officially confirmed as her premarital property, and in the 9 months of marriage, they had accumulated virtually nothing together. 2 months after being discharged from the hospital, Camilla returned to work. Her colleagues greeted her with cautious sympathy. The rumors about the divorce had spread quickly. Camilla, how are you? Whispered a coworker from the adjacent department. They say you threw your husband out with his things. Not exactly, Camilla smiled. I let him pack and leave. To his mother's place. Is it true that his mother turned your apartment into a den of vice while you were in the hospital? Camilla sighed. The office grapevine worked reliably, though not always accurately. Not a den of vice, a birthday party. For 3 days. With chaos and property damage. And you made them pay for everything? The coworker asked admiringly. I did, Camilla confirmed. You've got grit, the woman nodded approvingly. Everyone thought you were quiet and meek. But look at you. Camilla only shrugged. What could she say? That people change when they look death in the face? That sometimes you have to walk through hell to understand your own strength? That the scariest thing isn't conflict, it's a life without self-respect? Instead, she just smiled and got back to work. Late that evening, just as Camilla was getting ready for bed, there was a knock at the door. On the threshold stood her elderly neighbor, Donna Carmen. Camilla, your ex is under the window again. Drunk. Shouting. Should I call the police? Camilla sighed wearily. No, I'll go down myself. You sure? The neighbor eyed her with concern. I think he's not alone down there. Thank you, Donna Carmen. I can handle it. Camilla threw on a jacket and went downstairs. Sure enough, Diego was standing outside, drunk, his face puffy, his coat unzipped. His friend Carlos stood nearby, shifting uncomfortably from foot to foot, clearly trying to get Diego to leave. Cammy! Diego shouted when he saw her. Come back to me. I'll fix everything. I've changed. Diego, go home, Camilla said calmly. You're drunk. Home? He laughed bitterly. I don't have a home. My mom kicked me out, can you believe it? Said I spend too much on booze. Where else am I supposed to spend it? I can't live without you, Cammy. Let's go, Diego. Carlos tried to take him by the arm. You can crash at my place. Get off me. Diego shook him off. I'm not going anywhere without Cammy. I love her. Leave, Diego, Camilla said firmly. We're not together anymore. I'm not coming back to you. Ever. But why? He stumbled toward her. Why, Cammy? I apologized. My mom paid for your repairs. What more do you want? I wanted you to be there when I was dying in the hospital, Camilla said quietly. I wanted to be the priority in your life. I wanted a man, not a mama's boy. Bitch! Diego suddenly shouted, his face contorting with rage. Who even wants you? Sick, skinny. You can't even have kids after that surgery. Camilla turned pale. That was a low blow. The doctors had indeed warned her that her chances of pregnancy had dropped significantly, but Diego had promised it didn't matter. Leave, she repeated, feeling tears sting her eyes. Now. Diego, what the hell is wrong with you? Carlos suddenly barked, grabbing him by the front of his shirt. What are you saying? That's enough, we're leaving. Let go. Diego struggled. I'm not done. You said enough, Carlos growled and dragged him toward the car. Sorry, Cammy. He's not himself. I'll take him home. Camilla nodded silently, watching Carlos shove the resisting Diego into the car. Her ex-husband's words had cut deeper than she expected, but in a strange way, they also sealed everything. She now knew, without a shadow of doubt, that she had made the right decision. The car drove away, and Camilla slowly returned to her apartment. She saw from the window that a few neighbors, who had watched the scene unfold, were now dispersing. Her divorce had officially become public knowledge in the neighborhood. Camilla opened the window wide, breathing in the cool night air. Despite Diego's words, despite the pain, she felt an unexpected sense of peace. The repairs in the apartment were nearly done. A new life, free from manipulation, false compromises, and the constant feeling of being second, was just beginning. And it promised to be real, honest, and truly hers. Camilla didn't know what the future held, a new love, career success, travel, or something else entirely. But she knew one thing for certain, no one would ever again make her sacrifice her dignity and happiness for someone else's whims. Her illness, the brush with death, her husband's betrayal, none of it had been the end. It had been a turning point. And now, she could move forward, strong, confident, and free. Camilla closed the window, drew the curtains, and smiled at her reflection in the dark glass. For the first time in a long while, that smile was completely genuine.
If you're enjoying it as well, leave a like and subscribe to the channel.